Hi everybody, welcome back to the channel. My name's Nicole and today we're here for my August TBR, but the kicker is I didn't actually pick my TBR. Khrissy from Khrissy Stitches and Reads over on Instagram picked my entire August TBR, so let's get started. Good morning or good evening everybody, and welcome back to the channel. Thank you for taking some time out of your day and spending it with me while I prattle on about the books that I intend to read in the month of August. Now I will just have to say it is extremely windy here today, so I do apologise if you can hear the wind. I do have trees right at the front of my house and big bushes, so you probably get a little bit of windy noise. So I do apologise for that. Hopefully it doesn't interfere too much with the sound, but we are going to get into my August TBR. As I said, I did not pick this TBR. This TBR was picked for me. It is my birthday month of August, and Khrissy Stitches _ Reads is a online friend of mine, and we do a lot of stitching together. She is also the moderator over in my Facebook group. She's a moderator here on the channel as well, and she decided that she was going to pick some books for me. I'm starting to think that Khrissy may not like me. She has given me some chunksters, but we're going to get into them very shortly. But if you are new here and you've yet to subscribe, make sure you hit that subscribe button and the little bell icon beside it, and then that way you won't miss out on any future uploads. Obviously words are escaping me today, but yeah, and don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. All right, so we have a bit of a lengthy TBR to get through. I don't know if I'm going to get through all of them, but what we're going to do first is we're going to start with the group reads that we have happening over in the Discord. We've got 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, we've got 4. I've got all my notes written down in front of me, so if I look down, that's what I'm doing. So we're going to start with the Women's Prize for Fiction one. We are reading Pod this month, and what we're doing over in the Discord, and we did this last year as well. So basically, last year I just picked the books in some random, I just wrote them down, and that's the order that we read them in, starting with the winner. And we did the same thing this year. In July we read Demon Copperhead, and I keep going to say David Copperfield because that's the Charles Dickens book, and that book was based off that story. So except it's a modern day retelling. So yeah, and that was by Barbara Kingsolver, so she was the winner, so we always start with the winner. Then we put the remainder of the books, which there's 5 remaining that were on the shortlist, we put them into a container and then we pull one out. So basically what I done is I gave it a bit of a shake, pulled it out, and Pod came up. Now some of you may recognize this author. She wrote a book on the perspective from the bees, and she's come back again with a book from the perspective of a dolphin. And so this is called Pod. It is about family, sacrifice, and survival. Its underlying message is, you know, the humans have pretty much destroyed the oceans and all that sort of stuff. But we are seeing it through the point of view of several marine mammals. So we've got a dolphin, a spinner dolphin, and we've also got a whale in there as well. But it's all told from the perspective of the dolphin. Not really doing much justice for this book, and I've actually read this and I'm rereading it again. The first time around when I read it, I wasn't really that fussed on it, but I'm actually interested to read it again and read it a little bit slower, because when I read the long list we did read them very fast, and so basically I want to just take my time with these books. So I'm not overly concerned whether I get them finished in the month of August, but I am starting it in the month of August with everybody else. I'm still reading A Demon Copperhead, and I'm just taking my time. I started it quite late in the month as well, so I've only read 2 chapters. And so I'm just taking my time. I'm just reading them, and most of the books I read on the long list were on audio. So this time I'm trying to read the physical book, and I have a shelf in my that's going into my library that will have all the shortlisted books on it, mainly because I think my daughter will be very interested in a lot of the books, as she's quite an avid reader, so I'm sort of collecting them for her for when she's, you know, finished uni and all that sort of stuff and whatnot. So we're going to be reading that one. It is an interesting book. Like, even though it wasn't my cup of tea, I am actually quite keen to reread this, and just basically slowly. I'm not in any rush to read it, but I'm really interested to see if I get glean a little bit more of the underlying message and all that sort of stuff from the book. So I think a lot of people will enjoy this book because of the way it's written. The only thing I will say, be aware that sometimes it felt like the author sort of lost her way with the perspective, and yeah, I got a little bit, and that's probably just purely a me thing, but I got a little bit confused whether we were seeing it from a human's point of view or whether we were seeing it from a dolphin's point of view. And I just felt like the author may have got a little bit lost with her perspective, but it wasn't a bad thing. Like, he still got on track pretty quickly. But as I said, it could have been a me thing. It may not have been an author thing. It's quite possible it is a me thing. I'm just going to pop these down on the floor because I have a stack here. The next, and so that's for the Women's Prize for Fiction. You will find that there's a server there. It'll have 2023 Women's Prize for Fiction. Then I'll have a list of months, and then you'll see August there, and then you'll see where that conversation is happening. Okay, the next one that we're reading is for the Cozy Book Club server in our Discord, and we are reading this year the ACF Bookins Stitches in Crime series. This is called Fatal Floss. This is book 8. It took me a while to get this book 8. I'm glad I got it, but I'm a bit disappointed because none of my other books actually had the number on the side, and this one came with a number. But it is what it is. These aren't very big books. They do not take long to read. If you are wanting to catch up, they are available on Scribd as an audio, so you can always listen to the audio. They're quite pleasant to listen to as an audio. And this one actually has this actually has 168 pages, and so we're almost about to wrap up this series. So we've got 9 and 10 to go after August, but it's a fun little series, and I'm really excited to see where we go in this book, because in the last book we left off with something that we've all been anticipating, waiting to happen and all that sort of stuff, and it finally did happen. And so basically I'm really looking forward to seeing where this one goes. And this cat, he doesn't get mentioned very often, but when he does, he's usually in the car, in the basket. He tends to go everywhere with her, and he's a bit of a surly cat as well. And she has a little boy named Sawyer, and he's just adorable. Like, he is so cute. And the way the narrator portrays him with the voice and all the rest of it just adds to the ambiance of the book, and it's just a fun time. I highly recommend this series. I'm thoroughly enjoying it. And it's not heavily cross-stitch based, okay? There is a little mention of her cross-stitching and stuff like that. I've also endeavoured to, when I hear a TV show, I've also endeavoured to put them all onto a PDF, so you can go in and check out the TV shows as well. But as far as cross stitch goes, it's usually just her at the end of the day sitting down, relaxing a little bit and doing a little bit of stitching and whatnot. Okay, the next one that we have, now this was picked by Khrissy. This is part of the Khrissy's pick. Basically, this is turned into a group read. I was on a sprint one day. I can't remember whether it was mine or whether I was on somebody else's, and Leandra from Leandra the TBR 0 was super excited that we were going to be reading this. Khrissy is going to be reading it again, and I'm going to be reading it for the first time. Now, all the books that she's picked for me are her favourite books or favourite series, and so we've just had one change because I accidentally read a book not realising it was on the list. But we'll get into that later. And one of the books isn't here yet, so I will put that up. I'll put a graphic up for that. All right, so the book that I'm talking about that we're doing a group read for over in our Discord is called Long Bright River by Liz Moore. I have not read anything about any part of the synopsis or anything like that. I have no idea what it's about. So it is about two sisters. Okay, once inseparable, and on two different paths, but they walk the same streets. Mickey on her police beat, and Casey in the shadows, in the shadow of the darkest, where drug addicts dwell. So that's all I'm going to read. I'm just going to leave it at that because I want to go into this book blind, because Khrissy has picked for me, this is her favourite book. I don't want to know anything about it. I just want to read along with the group, and you understand, right? So that is another group read. So if you want to join us, the Discord, for any of these books that I've just mentioned, the Discord information is underneath this video. Come over, join in the fun. You can sit there and watch the conversation. You can participate. You can, if you've already read the books, come over, join the conversation. We'd love to have you over there, so please do come over and check that out. There's lots happening over there. We've got bingo, all sorts of stuff happening over there. There's something for everybody, and you don't have to participate in everything, but in saying that, you won't get a ton of notifications either. Like, it's not super annoying or anything like that. But anyway, Long Bright River is the next one, is the group read, and I'm super excited to be reading alongside Leandra and also Khrissy. The next one is I don't actually have the book here yet, but I do have the picture for it. Let me just bring it up. It is the Discord members book of the month pick. Okay, so each month, and you'll see the video on our shorts, each month I put up a notification for everybody to either change their genre, add themselves to the wheel, whatever the case may be, and we add everybody to a wheel. I then spin that wheel, and then that Discord member then picks the book that we're going to read. Now, Stormy from Storm Reads, and I'll link her channel up down below. She won the August spin, and so the book that she has picked for us is The Murder of Mr Wickham. Now, I've got that on my tablet, so hopefully you can see that without too much glare. There's lights everywhere here, but that's what the cover looks like. It's a bit hard to get that on there. Now, what is the book about? Basically, it is a murder mystery. I'm just bringing up the information now. Just bear with me for just one moment. Okay, so basically this, I'm just going to read the highlighted part because I sort of want to go into it blind. If you want to know exactly what the book is about, Monday's sprints, at the beginning of the sprints, I think it may be about 5 or 10 minutes in, Leandra has read this, and she was telling us about the book because the spin happened the night before. So basically it says, a summer house party turns into a thrilling whodunit when Jane Austen's Mr Wickham, one of literature's most notorious villains, meets a sudden and suspicious end in this brilliantly imagined mystery from a New York Times bestseller author featuring Austen's leading literary characters. So it happens at Mr Knightley's and Emma's house. They throw a party on their country estate and bringing together distant relatives and acquaintances. Obviously, they're all characters from Jane Austen books. And basically, Mr Wickham is, well, we know that he's murdered and he's met an untimely demise. So basically, yeah, that is what is going to be happening. And it sounds like a fun time read. Leandra's super excited that we are reading it, and a lot of people joined our Discord during that sprint, and Brittany also put it on hold as well. I have ordered mine, and I've also pre-ordered the second one. The second book is already out in the United States. However, here in Australia, it doesn't come out until the end of August, the 29th, I want to say. And this is book one in a series. I'm not sure how many is going to be in the series, but at this present time, there are 2. And it's called the Mr. Darcy and Miss Tilney Mystery, The Murder of Mr Wickham. So I'm super excited to be reading this, and along with so many great people as well. So thank you, Stormy, for picking that book. It looks like it's going to be a fun time read, and I'm super excited, as you can tell. All right, now let's move on to the rest of the books that Khrissy has picked for me for the month of August. Now, as I said, I don't think she likes me very much because they're all pretty chunksters. So the first one I'm going to talk about, which again, I do not know anything about these books. I have just, I've ordered them. And they're actually, the Long Bright River and the Pact, which is the one I'm going to talk about now, were gifted to me from Khrissy. So thank you very much, Khrissy. I really appreciate the lovely gift. And these ones, as I said, are her favourite books. I've also given her some books as well, which I'm not going to go into great detail, but I will run through what they are and just put the graphic up on the screen for you towards the end of the video. Okay, so I'm just going to read the little blurb because I want to go into these books pretty blind. There's a little, like, you know, the highlighted bits you put on the back, like, what people say about it. Booklist actually says this psychological shrewd tale is as suspenseful as any best-selling legal thriller. She forges a finely honed, commanding, and cathartic drama. So that's what it sort of says. The novelist displays an almost uncanny ability to enter the skins of her troubled young protagonists, says the New York Times. So I, as I said, don't want to have any sort of preconceived notions about what this book is. I want to go into them blind, so I can, get a better feel for the books and see why Khrissy says that these are some of her favourite books. So, this one has 440 pages in it. It's about my average size book, so that's not too bad. I don't have this one on audio, but I'm thinking that to help me get through the books, I might see if I can find it on the library, at the library or something like that. But when I looked, it wasn't on there, so I may have to just buy that one on Audible. I will read the first maybe 10 chapters and see if I want to pick up the next one. Pick up the audio for that. Okay, so the next book that we've got is Melina Marchetta, Looking for Brandy. This was first published in 1992. I've known of this book for years, but I've never read it. I think it may even be a TV series. Not 100% sure on that, so don't quote me on that. But this one is one of Khrissy favourites again. I don't know much about it. I know that my daughter has read it. She said it's a good book. It seems like it's a bit of a coming-of-age story. I just read the first paragraph. So Josephine Brandy is 17, illegitimate, and in her final year at a wealthy Catholic school. As if this weren't enough, this is the year that her father comes back into her life, the year she falls in love, and the year she discovers family secrets that will finally set her free. I'm going to stop reading there because I don't want to spoil it for me. Coming of age stories aren't normally something that I like to read, but I have read a few and they've been okay. So we'll see how I fare with this one. All right, so the next one that we are going to be reading is called Pearl in a Cage. It's by Joy Denneman. It's part of the Woody Creek series. It seems to be a historical fiction. It is set in 1923. It's spanning two monumentous decades and capturing Australia rural's complex and mysterious heart. Pearl in the Cage is an unputdownable new novel from one of our most talented storytellers, which is Joy Detman. So I'm looking forward to reading that. I'm obviously looking forward to reading all of these books. I'm not sure I'm ready for a close to 600-page book. What is it? It is 565 pages. So Khrissy, what are you doing to me? Seriously, woman, what did you do to me? I was a little bit nicer. Okay, so the next one that I'm going to be reading is by Penny, and the names, Penny Vincenti. It's called No Angel. This is part of the Spoils of Time trilogy. It is in pre-war London. Doesn't say what war. I'm assuming, looking at it, I'm assuming pre-World War One. So basically it's, I'm just looking at here, wickedly enjoyable, the Telegraph says. So I'm interested in seeing why it's wickedly enjoyable. In pre-war London, Lady Celia Linton is the perfect hostess, beautiful, intelligent, determined. She throws glittering parties, publishes best-selling books, and enjoys her young family and loving husband. But there are tragedies her family will not escape. The Titanic, the First World War, and the flu epidemic. And I'm just going to leave it there because I feel like that's going to give me some spoilers. So, considering just recently I have been watching Downton Abbey, and I read Shifting Fog, or / Riverton House, because it's named Shifting Fog here. I think that this is going to have those vibes of, Downton Abbey vibes, that sort of thing. So I'm actually, it's going to be a fun time, I think. And there's 3 in this series. So thanks. It's all I can say to Khrissy. 2 series. I think there's probably 3 series, to be honest. All right, the next one, which I think this one, Catherine Fox, I think this one is also a series as well. And there's 750 pages in No Angel. I do have that, however, I do have that on audio. I got it from my library, so I was pretty happy about that. And I think I got Looking for Brandy from the library as well. I've got it sitting there in my reading list, so I'll just borrow it as soon as I'm ready to pick it up. And what I usually do with my TBRs, anything on audio, I get done really quickly. Like I get done on the group reads first, and then I go to the audios, and then I'll go to the physical books. Now, I'm hoping to have all these books finished in the month of August. If that doesn't happen, that's okay. That's okay. So the next one that I'm going to be reading is by Catherine Fox. It's called Malicious Intent. I do know that this is a medical thriller, so I like medical shows and stuff. The sun is in such a bad spot. The car's out there and it's hitting the car and reflecting and blinding me. So so I'm looking forward to this one. And I don't know, so it's got a heap of blurbs and everything, top notch in the genre. Think ER meets CSI. So I'm just going to leave it at that. Though, just a couple little blurbs on there. I don't want to read what it's about for obvious reasons, and I've already stated in this video. I say that with every book that I pick up. I just love going into my books blind, because I just feel like I don't have any preconceived notions about how good the book is or anything like that. And so that's why I like to do it. And even like if I see someone talking about it, I'll skip over that part, because I don't want to wreck it, unless of course I know that I'm never going to read it. Then I'll just it's on my radar, but I know that I'm just not going to get to it. But this sounds like ER meets CSI. That's interesting. So I'm looking forward to seeing what that one is all about. And then the last one, then I have Hate by Candace Fox. I don't know what this is about, but this is the cover. Let me just see if I can't find it, and I'll bring it up. And it is, I've got my Kindle here. Well, it's actually my tablet, but I've got the Kindle app on it, so I'm just bringing it up on that, and let's see what that is. It's Hades or Hades, so either way, let's bring it up, shall we? It comes up as soon as I start typing her name. It looks like it's set in Australia, judging by the look of the cover. And Lee Child has, if you like great thrillers, then you'll love Candace Fox by Lee Child. Khrissy, it's a series. It's book 1 of number 3. So now I'm going to have all these series to finish in the next year, because I don't like to have a lot of series going. And I was looking at my Goodreads earlier, and I noticed that I still have a series, a cozy mystery series on there. And I've read the first 4 or 5 of the books, and I've got another 4 or 5 to go. So I'm going to try and read them over the Christmas break. So this does come on Audible. And I will check the library first to see if they've got it there. It's not on Kindle Unlimited, but that's what it looks like. Hopefully I can get it to come up. But that's the book there. Very quintessential Australian sunset right there. And that's how much we pay for ebooks here. That's Australian. So I don't know what it is actually about. So let me have a look, because this is the only one that it's on its way to me. So it'll probably be one of the last ones that I read, because I've had no notification of it being shipped there, and all that sort of stuff. It was the winner of the 2014 Ned Kelly Award for Best Debut Crime Novel. I'm just going to leave it at that. It's a dark, compelling, original thriller that will have you spellbound from its atmospheric opening pages to the shocking climax. I'm just going to leave it at that. I'm pretty happy with that. Sounds like a good book. Thank you, Khrissy. Okay, so I made a bit of a boo-boo at the beginning of the month. I've started a new series, which you haven't seen yet, I don't think. No, you haven't. You wouldn't have seen it by the time this video comes out, because it's coming out the first week of August. So, I have started a new series on my channel called Meet the Author, and it is where I meet the author for the first time. So I've read nothing of their books or anything like that. Anyway, at the beginning of the month, I was not checking my August TBR, and I picked it up and went, uh-oh. I read one of the books on the TBR, which was Sally Hepworth's The Family Next Door. Now, you'll get to see my reaction to her writing and what I thought of those books and all that sort of stuff. It's a bit of a vlog, and yeah, you'll see it. So I had to go back to Khrissy and say, hey, Khrissy, I read one of the books that's on the TBR. I didn't look at it. I'm so sorry. Can you pick something else? So she went to Leanne Moriarty. Now, I have read Leanne Moriarty before. I have not read this one, which was great because I had several on my shelf that I just recently got in a book haul. And this one doesn't really have anything on the back except it has a few blurbs from different newspapers and Entertainment Weekly, Who Weekly, and all that sort of stuff. So basically, from what I can tell, it draws out lashings of dark humour and untimely drama, although the style and emotional register are quite different. Moriarty's ability to mine suburban anxieties into a compelling way is wonderful. The secrets borrowed in this seemingly placid small town are so suburban noir that would make David Lynch clap with glee. So... It sounds like a good... I believe... Yes, it does. It also says it's a HBO limited series. I haven't watched it, so I'm looking forward to diving into this book. And the best part is I got this book for $2. So that is all of the books that I'm going to be reading that are on my official August TBR. So what have I put on for Khrissy to read? So I picked some books for her. I was a little bit nicer. I asked her how many she normally reads in a month. She only reads 5. I am a lunatic and read anywhere from 12 to 16 books. So basically, I have picked for her some books that I have thoroughly enjoyed in the last 12 to 18 months. Because I've read... In 3 years, I've read over 350 books. That's a lot of books by anybody's standards, not so many by other people's standards. But anyway, the first book that I picked for her was The Gilded Ones. It's a YA book by Namina Fauna. You can see the cover here. It's actually, and you could possibly see it just down the corner. It's part of a series. I've actually picked 3 series for Khrissy to, and yeah. So, tit for tat a little bit. So, yeah. So, The Gilded Ones. So, basically, I'm not going to go into the synopsis of these, but this one is a YA story, a coming-of-age story. It is talking, basically, we have a young protagonist who is in a village and she is about to do a ceremony where they cut them, and if they bleed gold, they're banished from the village. If they bleed red, they can stay. So, that's sort of the opening chapters of it. And it is a wonderful book. The next one is They Call Me Night by Yasmin Ango. And I think that I may have... let me just bring it up. I think I may have given her the wrong book, which she's already corrected. Because I always get these in the wrong order. So I'll put up the cover for it. This is a trilogy. And the third one in the trilogy is coming out in September. Let me just bring it up. These are all on Kindle Unlimited as well, so if anybody's interested. All right, so the one, her name is Night. I actually got it right. They Call Me Night. That's what I always say. Her name is Night. These are on Kindle Unlimited. They come, and this is the cover for it. Okay, and that is there's the trilogy down there. So they're not super long books by any means. They flow really quickly, and all the rest of it. So basically, Nina is an assassin, but the first book starts with her life as a child and how she ended up becoming assassin, and it's really fast paced. And there's also another, like, you've got the dual timeline, because we go back to what happened to her, which she doesn't talk about much of it, but then we come into the current situation where she was sent to assassinate someone and she ended up saving their life instead. So it's quite a really good read. I gave it 5 stars. I also gave Gilded Ones a very high rating. Off the top of my head, I think it was 4 stars, 4.5, which is huge because I don't read a lot of YA, but I thoroughly enjoyed it. And the series overall so far, which I've now realised there's a third book, which I don't have an estimated date for it. That was also really good as well. The next one that I have suggested for her is Wolf Gone Wild, Juliet Cross. One of my favourite romance series at the moment. It is the Stay a Spell series. It's very cozy vibe romance. Lots of laugh out loud moments and whatnot. Khrissy actually had this on her because it's on Kindle Unlimited, and it came with audio, so she already had it on her radar because I read it as a bingo prompt at late last year. The next one is The Book of Longings by Sue Monk Kidd. You might know her from The Life of Bees. She wrote that book. This one is The Book of Longings is from the perspective of if Jesus had married, and it's the perspective of his wife. And it's quite an interesting story of how women I felt, and my takeaway from it was how sad it is so many women that may have been in places of power were silenced over the years. So there's a couple of moments in it that are make you tear up a little bit and all that sort of stuff, but a fantastic read. I read it in one sitting. I devoured it. It's a 5-star read from me. And the other one was The Book of Lost Names by Kristen Harmel, and I believe this is a Kindle Unlimited one as well. And it also came with audio, and it is telling the story of a young protagonist that in the Second World War was basically in a village, and they're helping people escape, and basically she was taking down their names and recording all their true names and all that sort of stuff. And she was a forger, so she forged, is that the right word? I think that's the right word. Anyway, probably isn't, but anyway, she would forge the papers. She was so good at penmanship and forging and all that sort of stuff that she would create these papers to get Jewish people across the border and away from the problems in France. So very, very heart-wrenching read, a very disturbing read, but at the same time a very good read. Like I gave that a 4.5 star, I believe, maybe even a 5 star. I'd have to go and look it up. But so they're the books that I have picked for Khrissy. Now, we also have the Amazing Readathon that I'm participating in. So some of the books that you've already seen have blue covers and everything for August. And you can see there's a pile of blue books. These are also possibilities. Most of these I have found on audio through the library or through Scribd or other Audible. So these books here are there as possibilities. And I'm going to try to pick books that I have on audio. So I know that I have, which is the Juliet Cross one. I know I have this on audio, and it's a collection of short stories. And I also have this one, which I was supposed to read in July, but I decided to hold it over because it was Blue Amari and the Knight Brothers. I have that on audio, and I do also have The Wife Who Knew Too Much on audio, and I believe I found the other day on the library Paris Echo by Sebastian Faulks. So I have those ones, and then we've also got some Danielle Steele down here, and a couple of other books as well that I have on audio. So they are some possibilities that we have there, and I will talk more about them during the month of August because I will do a vlog for the Amazing Readathon and the books that I read. So if you want to know more about the Amazing Readathon, head on over to Four Paws and a Book, and Bree has an announcement video which I'll link up down below. You can go and check that out, and I'm obviously on Team Blue. So yeah, so that's, and I've got other blue books as well, and then there's a whole heap in oh, and there's also, this is a blue book as well, by Alexander McCall Smith. He is the writer of the Number One Ladies, is it Number One Ladies Detective Agency? So it's a series that I actually want to start reading. Yes, the Number One Detective Agency. So yeah, so that's a series. I was just looking up then what the books were just before I went on camera. So that is my TBR. It's a pretty hectic one. As I said, I have a few audios for this, so I will be able to do a lot of immersive reading as well as listening while I'm working and stuff like that. I have sprints happening every day, not every day, every Monday and Friday, except for Friday the 18th. And I'm also appearing on other people's sprints as well, so I will be able to get a lot of reading in. I'm also away for a week as well, so I've got a flight up to Townsville and back again, so I'll be able to get some reading on that. Yeah, so lots of reading time, and then yeah, on my birthday I'll probably get some reading done as well. But that is it for me today. As I said earlier on, if you've yet to subscribe, make sure you subscribe to the channel and also hit the like button on this video. I'd just like to say thank you very much for coming along. Let me know what you're going to be reading. Are you reading any of the books? Are you joining in with any of our Discord read-alongs? Let me know in the comments below. If not, just leave me a book emoji so I know you've made it this far. And as always, have a wonderful day, everybody. Happy reading, and I will see you in the next video. Bye for now.